Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
It's another Wednesday inside The Lock Shop. Thank you very much for downloading the podcast. Very much appreciated. If you're watching on Twitter or on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed as football betting with the CFL and then eventually the NFL about to get fired up again here right away. But it's Wednesday, Huss, which means we're talking golf on The Lock Shop, brought to you by Coolbet.
Big tourney coming up. We got the big boys back. The Memorial Tournament always gets a great field. And listen, always gets should be a great event. I'm looking forward to it. And you just mentioned CFL. I've been keeping a keen eye on the Coolbet CFL section. And if you are into futures like we are here,
let's get into that tomorrow, buddy. Let's do that tomorrow.
There's a bunch more players, like player props for the year. And I've already identified a few juicy spots, I think, for bettors. So we'll definitely jump on that. And really, you got a week to get these in because the regular season, hard to believe, gets going next week. And you'll be making a couple trips out here to the Peg over the course of the next 10 days.
Next two Friday nights, I'll be in Winnipeg bringing you Bombers football on TSN. And I can't wait, buddy. I'm excited. Bombers Riders. That preseason game I got last week, I just called it for the stream, but it was an awesome football game. So I'm expecting the Bombers and Riders to be like this brilliant preseason game. I might be let down, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll find out. I'm not entirely sure what sort of lineup the Bombers are going to field. It was sort of weird. I mean, the game that you called last week, they brought most of their ones out to Edmonton. Last year, Zach Caleros didn't even take a snap in the preseason. So I'm not sure whether we'll see Zach and some of the.
He played longer than I thought he would last week, too. He was in the game longer than Cornelius.
I think for everyone, that was a little bit surprising. Bottom line is you just want to get through these games healthy. Bombers still waiting to get a few guys back. Jackson Jeffcoat's returned to practice. Adam Bighill's been not practicing much. Brady Oliveira. So I wouldn't expect those guys will be there. But let's face it, the big day is a week Friday when we get things going with Bo Levi Mitchell as a Hamilton Tiger Cat coming to IG Field.
That's really exciting. I can't wait to call that game, buddy. That's going to be excellent. Anyway, we said CFL props continue to pop up. Player props continue to pop up at Coolbet. We'll probably dive into it a little bit tomorrow. That and NBA Finals game one of that series we can get into tomorrow. But it's a golf day. Pat Gregoire from Coolbet is here. He's ready to go. We're talking the Memorial. And this was a fun one to get ready for. I had a good time looking at the odds and breaking this thing down. Patty, what's up, buddy?
Doing great, boys. Yeah, this is an awesome field. I'm really excited for this one. Again, it's so jarring to look at the top of the field, though, and see Scheffler plus 650 and Rahm plus 750. Just goes to show you these two guys are just absolute mutants and are on just a completely different level.
Well, and on top of that, Pat, those are really short numbers. But then you look at guys like Pat Cantlay, who won this twice at 11-1, and Rory McIlroy and Xander Schauffele at 15. I mean, those are numbers that are usually a lot shorter than 15-1 on those players. But I think it just speaks to the gap right now that has sort of emerged between Scheffler, Rahm, and everybody else that's playing regularly on the PGA Tour.
Exactly. That just goes to show you. I mean, the fact that for Scheffler and Rahm to finish in the top 10, minus 154, minus 125, plus 135 for Scheffler to finish in the top 5. That sounds outrageous. It sounds crazy, but he's been on such an unbelievable run. I saw a tweet yesterday with him finishing T3 at the Charles Schwab. Scottie Scheffler has 14 straight top 20 finishes in stroke play events dating back to October 2022. You started with $100 and bet him in top 20 in each and rolled your winnings, you would be up $20,000.
Ooh, not bad.
Well, I'm going to say stay cool, bet responsibly. But that's a pretty smart investment. But now you look at it though, Scheffler minus 400 to finish in the top.
I've never seen anything like that. This is wild. This is a great field. With some of the top guys, the consistency that Scheffler has exhibited lately is well, the reason why he's up there at the top. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to be talking a lot about Rombo come Sunday afternoon. I mean, the best case scenario really for the tour right now would be, to have Rory have a good week and, be in the mix on Sunday. Like, can you imagine a final pairing of Scotty Scheffler and John Rahm just trading haymakers down the back nine for Arnie's tourney?
That would be pretty
incredible.
amazing.
I mean,
that's exactly what the PGA Tour should be hoping for. Maybe it's all. I was going to say maybe you'd be better in a major, but I actually think that in a tournament that maybe might not get as much viewership, that's something that they'd be looking for. But this has big time major vibes to it, just because it is a little bit of a more historical tournament. You look at all the big names here.
It's a tough course.
Really
that ties in here too. Like, yeah,
I think we could be setting up for something special come Sunday.
Well, and of course, I mean, with Jack Nicklaus being the host of this event too, it's got a little special cachet. Certainly for the players. I mean, it's not a major, although minus some of the live guys. I mean, you've got basically a major type field, which is now almost the norm right now with these elevated events. Hey, quickly speaking of live, obviously people have talked a lot about live coming a little bit of momentum, if you want to call it that, from Brooks winning that fifth major. The TV numbers aren't even publicized right now, so I don't know how many people are watching it. But is anyone betting on it, Pat? Are you guys getting any sort of traction when it comes to live? I mean, it just sort of seems like it's something that we find out Sunday afternoon. Oh, what? There's a live event this weekend?
Yeah, to be totally honest, we're not really seeing a ton of numbers on those events either. And again, I think it's because it's kind of difficult. Like, let's be honest here. The quote unquote hardcore golf bettors, they love diving into a lot of the analytics, like the tee to greens, course history, all these things. There's next to no analytics available for live. And you said it, like there would be days where it's like come Wednesday, I'm like, oh, there's a live event going on. I should see who I should bet on or take a look here. So we are seeing action from some, but not nearly as much as I thought we would maybe be having momentum, year two, coming down the stretch here off of what Brooks Koepka, him winning that big event. But again, I think there's that threat Liv has in the back of the PGA's mind, no doubt. But at the end of the day, I still think the PGA is king here. It just has the legacy. And as we're seeing, there's a lot of interest in it. But the numbers aren't there to show that people are really backing it all that much.
People are aware of it, but not really. I mean, as I say, there's been I'm on this pretty hard. Love golf, watch it all the time. Yeah. There's been twice this year where Sundays come, and I've realized for the first time that weekend that there's a live event. I mean, it's a very uphill battle right now, even with what's Brooks going on. Get me for this next event. Give me a head-to-head matchup between Smash GC and the High Flyers. And I'd also like a Range Goats versus the Cleeks. Or no, it's not the Cleeks anymore. They changed. I think they're Stinger GC. So got to get some head-to-head team.
It sounds make-believe. Like, it just sounds make-believe to me right now what you're talking about. That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah.
It for me, it's like what it reminds me of is it's like a video game that, when you like those video games that don't have the rights to like the proper professional names, it feels a lot like that, right? So
that is what it feels like. 100%, buddy.
Just random AI generated teams. But you're telling me, Huss, that having these tournaments broadcasted on the same channels that were the home of One Tree Hill and Smallville and Gilmore Girls wasn't a good idea? Like, that CW contract, I don't know how much it was signed for, but what a boneheaded decision that was to
not
team
to
up
mention
with them.
2 tournaments ago, there was a rain delay. It was coming down the stretch. I mean, they were going to a playoff with DJ and Cam Smith, and they yanked the coverage for infomercial reruns over the last ridiculous. 4 holes. I mean, you can't make this up. Hey, quickly, I did want to ask you this before we get to the golf picks. give us a quick update on what's going on with your other hat. The lacrosse world is been popping lately.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's exciting. We got game 3, best of 3 series for the NLL finals. It's a rematch of the finals last year. Not a ton of Canadian content. We have Colorado and Buffalo, but man, these two fan bases are probably two of the best in the NLL. It was Memorial Day week, or Memorial Day on Monday. It was an afternoon game. There was over 10,000 fans in Colorado.
Nice.
On Saturday night. Just under 14K in Buff. It sounds like there's already been 15K sold for this upcoming Saturday. So expect a sellout in Buffalo. And these two teams they just match up so well. It should be a great game. And again, we have that promo still going on. So if you got nothing to do on Saturday night, you're flipping through channels, you come across a game on TSN. Sprinkle a little $20 on either the Bandits or the Mammoth, or take the over and just cheer, because then the following week you're going to get a $10 free bet for anywhere in the sportsbook.
That's awesome. I love it. Memorial. Who do you like? Who are you on, Pat? What do you got going on this weekend?
I feel like you could just go back to a couple of shows or a couple shows before that, or that. I'm going back with two of my guys here. Victor Hovland. I mean, I don't think I have to go into it too much. I just think that we're going to get to a point where he's going to go on a run here. He's going to pick up a win and roll. He's a guy that, again, consistently is near the top. I thought he was going to have a little bit of a bigger drop-off last week because of what we've seen from him coming off majors. He usually has those hangovers, but thought he was all right last week. I think he ended up finishing T16, so not too bad. The other one I like is Tagala. I honestly think that this number doesn't make any sense to me. He finished T5 here last year. Over the last 6 of his 8 starts, he's gained stroke off the tee. He's kind of scares me is that you have to be an accurate hitter off the tee here. And as we know, he can spray it a little bit, but he has improved his accuracy. And again, I'm more or less betting the number here. Like, I just don't see in any world how he's 50-1. It really doesn't make sense with the way that he's played this year. So those are two guys that I like. Matsuyama is another guy that I like the number there as well. So those would be my 3 plays that I like for outrights. But again, it's so tough when you have Rom and when you have Scheffler, like I mentioned before. But for me, those numbers are just too short. I can't swallow it. I don't know if I can do it, but maybe it's a play where after Thursday's round and one of them aren't too hot, but they're still sniffing around, maybe you live bet them to get a better number.
What's the Greggy golf special?
Greggy golf special is pretty close to what we have for my outrights. Let me pull it up here.
I like Hideki, by the way. He was on my short list. I ended up staying away from him, so I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah.
He won this event before.
Exactly. He's won the event before.
Yeah,
it seems like he's getting healthier, and he's a guy that's proven, like, when you talk about this being such a impressive field and a difficult field, well, he's won in these big events bigger than this, right? So he's not going to be afraid of if he's come Sunday and is in the last group, like, he's not going to fizzle down the end and pee down his leg. Like, he's been in these big moments. So to the Greggy's golf special we go. Pretty simple. I've got Hovland, Matsuyama, and Tagala all to finish in the top 20. That's 12-1.
12-1. Not bad. Pretty good number. Yeah. All right, Patty. Well, enjoy the Memorial, buddy. And great way. We had Big Uke on the YouTube chat saying the TSN broadcast was absolutely great to watch the last game, too. So I think you guys have done a really good job with the NLL coverage so far this season, man. So enjoy the rest of the year.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the love. And I nearly had a stroke when I was listening, and you said CFL starts next week. Like, how does this happen? Although
football
I'm not upset. Exactly. I'm not upset about it. I'm going to absolutely head down to some Argos games this year, and I think I'm going to really sink my teeth into the CFL this year.
Hey, Pat, what we really need to do is we need to get you on the Bird to come out here to the Peg when Dusty's coming here to call a game.
Yep.
And then we
Yep.
can have a little lock shop get together post game,
Yes.
and you will get to enjoy the best atmosphere in the Canadian Football League.
Done.
The invite is
Sign me
always
up.
open for you, my friend.
Yeah, let's make that
Awesome.
happen. Actually, that's a good idea.
Let's
All right,
lock
buddy.
it
We'll
in.
chat next week. There you go.
All right, see you,
That's
boys.
Pat Gregoire from Coolbet Canada, is part of TSN's NLL coverage as well. Does an excellent job. Very, very smooth on those broadcasts. All right, Huss, here we go. I did sprinkle in a little Siwoo Kim at plus 6,500. It's a longer shot, but I wanted to be on him. I was going to put him in my top 3, but there's just so many guys I wanted to be on this week. So just a quick shout out to Siwoo Kim. He's got 2 top 10s in his last 5 outings at plus 6,500. He's won 4 times on the tour, and they've all been a different style of courses. So it's not like this course is going to be, too difficult for him to get the job done at. And he's got 3 top 20s here the last 3 times he was here. So at plus 6,500, small little sprinkle on Siwoo Kim. But let's get to our top 6 picks, Huss. Here, who are you? I look at you. You're swallowing the John Rahm at plus 750.
I am. I listen. I don't normally jump on numbers this short, but like I said before, I really think that we're going to have a bit of a heavyweight tilt here between Scotty and Rombo. And while Scotty has been the model of consistency, to me, this is a week that Rom comes in, pops, and reminds everyone that all things being equal, he's the baddest man on the planet with a golf club in his hand. Listen, you could convince me to swap these odds otherwise. I mean, what Pat just rolled out with the consistency of Scotty Scheffler's finishes really is incredible. But I think when dialed in, I'm still taking John Rahm. And let's not forget Rahm's history at this tournament. He's won it before. He's really won it twice because he had a 8 or 9 stroke lead a couple years back and then tested positive for COVID after the 3rd
That's
round
right.
and had to withdraw. This is a track and an event that he has done very well in the past. And John Rahm is also a guy that I think really appreciates the history of the game. And it's a little more special than a regular tour event when you're getting the trophy from the legendary Jack Nicklaus. I think this is also a chance for him to kind of, go head to head with Scotty Scheffler. To me, it really is a 2-horse race at the top of the leaderboard. So I'm going to swallow it and I'm going to roll with John Rahm at plus 750. I do, however, like the value of Colin Morikawa. Now, listen, Morikawa is coming off back-to-back, like top 30 finishes, 29th, 26th in his last couple of events. And he missed the cut in this event last year, going, I think, 70 and 77. That being said, watching Morikawa over this last little while, it seems like he's so close to being there and to really popping. And when he gets in a groove, he's as good as anyone on the PGA Tour. So at plus 250 at a track that he wasn't great last year, but if you back up to the year before, lost in a playoff, he does have, I think, some good vibes coming into this event. And I just think that at 25-1, when you look at the other players and where they're set at, I think there's value on Morikawa, and I think they're sleeping on him. And I think sooner or later, over the course of these next few events, we're going to see Morikawa look like that multiple major champion that has sort of been missing as of late. So I'm going to try and get in ahead of it and jump on Morikawa at 25-1. And I mean, really, when you're taking a plus 750, I mean, there's not a lot of currency to go around on others, but I did want to do a small play on Cam Young. And Young, we've talked about Cam Young, I mean, throughout this season. I mean, he is knocking on the door to win that first PGA Tour title, got all the way to the match play final and ended up losing to Sam Ryder. He really does have such a complete game. And when his off the tee game is on, he's right there with the best. And it really does give him plenty of opportunities to shoot at pins and try and make birdies right now. So I figured I'd put a little sprinkle on Cam Young because we are going to be talking about him getting into the winner's circle, I believe, relatively soon. But the 2 picks I like, it's a bigger piece on John Rahm. You got to go that way at a plus 750 favorite. And then we're also going to run with Colin Morikawa to maybe refine some of his A game and bring it out at Jack's tourney, the Memorial.
I know nobody wants to bet on Patrick Cantlay, But this is an event where I feel like I have to bet on Patrick Cantlay. He's been here 6 times. He's made the cut all 6 times. He's won it twice. He's finished T3rd once and a solo 4th once. I mean, the guy's been here 6 times. He's finished top 4 times and won it twice. So you're getting him at 11-1. His history with this course is better than the 2 guys who are ahead of him. So I'm going to take Patrick Cantlay here at 11-1. I mean, it also helps that he rolls in with 9 straight top 25s. The guy hasn't been outside of the top 25 in almost 3 months. So Patrick Cantlay at 11-1 plus 1100 will be my top play of the week. Xander Schauffele, this guy has been as steady as they come. He just got to get that dub. That's what has to happen here. 7 straight top 20s for Xander Schauffele. His last 4 trips to this event, it hasn't been great, but it's been pretty good. He's finished basically T14, T13, T11, T18. Like he's there. He's around it. He's one really good round away from being in contention. So the fact that he's been that consistent here the last 4 times, that in fact that he's really near the top of his game right now, I like Xander at 15-1. And I'm going to get on Terrell Hatt. He's only been here once before. It was T33 in 2019. But he too, in his last 4 events, T19, T3, T5, and T13 on the journey from Harbour Town to Oak Hill. So he's been playing extremely well. We know that he's been around it a little bit, Huss. He's one of the guys in this range that I do like. So I'm going to get him on at 30-1 here at plus 3,000. I mentioned Siwoo Kim a little bit earlier on, but obviously my 2 biggest leans here are Cantlay at plus 1,100 and Xander Schauffele at 15-1.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm rolling with Rahm and Morikawa, and it's funny. I'm glad you put Hatton on because I basically came down to Hatton or Young. I think, to be honest, Hatton's maybe a little bit more of a safer pick, especially if you want to take a top 10 or a top 20. I mean, he's been a bit of a workhorse right now, and I think you could probably count on him being there, making the cut, and being in the mix on Sunday. The Young pick is a little more boom or bust, but as I said, we're going to kind of focus in. It's hard to imagine a real long shot winning this tournament just because of how great the players are at the top of this list. I think that's sort of the reason why I'm swallowing that plus 750 on Jon Rahm. But I'll say this, you add in the cachet of it being Nicklaus's tournament, you throw the best players in the world in an elevated event, and this could very well feel a little major-esque minus a few obvious missing individuals that were just playing on Trump's course last weekend.
Is there an exclusive here somewhere, Huss? What do you think? Like, what do we do here?
While we're at it, I do have a couple of top 20s.
Okay. All right.
That I'm in on. And one of those is Ricky Fowler, who just continues to grind out top 20s. He is at plus 130. And then another one that's a little bit more of a long shot is Brian Harman, the lefty. That number plus 275 sort of popped out to me. He's 100-1 to win the tournament. He was tied for 18th last year, so he has been in the mix. And Ricky, of course, is a big jack guy. I mean, he is. So I wouldn't mind putting Ricky in on a top 20. And then let's see here. What do we've got? We've got it's crazy. Rahm and Scheffler top 10 in this field are minus 154 and minus 125.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, no, where's my guy Morikawa? Morikawa is plus 200 for top 10. And basically even money on the or minus 105 for a top 20. And I don't mind Hatton, who's even.
We could do Hatton top 20.
I'm gonna do Hatton,
Fowler.
Ricky, and then do we want to go Morikawa? Do we want to? I mean, the same thing with Schauffele and
what are the
Cantlay's minus 222 for top 10. Although we could maybe take Cantlay top 10 at even money.
Yes, I like that.
So Cantlay top 10, Hatton top
Fowler
20,
top 20,
Ricky Fowler top 20.
Okay. All right, Jake, if you're watching, make sure you slot that in. If not, I'll fire it over to Jake. Ricky Fowler, Terrell Hatton, Pat Cantlay, Cantley with the top 10, the other two with the top 20. I like that. And actually, let's tie this into another exclusive that we had that's popped up right now. It's over in the exclusive section. I think it opened at plus 310 yesterday. It's at plus 285 right now. And that was something we put together after we had our NBA and NHL previews yesterday. Denver Nuggets minus 2.5 in the series versus Miami, and the Stanley Cup Finals over 5.5 games at plus 285, Huss. I mean, the only thing that stops that is Jimmy Butler having an amazing game somewhere along the way. Like, I really like that one big time.
I think that they're going to need an amazing game from Jimmy Butler just to get the one. We've got the cushion on 4 or 5. I mean, we went over this yesterday. Check it out. I mean, a full show handicapping both the Stanley Cup final and the NBA finals. And I'm glad I got on this one right when we dropped it at plus 310. But still, I think plus 285. I would be stunned if either Vegas or Florida runs away with this series in 4 or 5 games. I'm expecting it to go a minimum of 6. And we talked about it. I mean, the Nuggets are the team to beat, and I think this is going to be a real struggle for the Heat to. That being said, they beat Milwaukee. They beat the Knicks. They beat the Celtics. I saw someone saying, they're going to go and win this series, and they'll be holding the trophy, and people be like, yeah, I'm not really sure if I believe in the Heat.
I just don't know if they can get it done.
We'll
see. We'll see. I think the Nuggets are a different monster. Jokic is a different monster than anybody they face. Nothing against Giannis, but Jokic is different. So
Giannis was out for a good portion of that series too, and was being hurt.
That's a good point.
But that is up right now, and then we'll also get another. We'll get this boosted odds for the Memorial popping in, and Pat's the Greggy Golf Special is there under the golf boosted odds specials. Vic, Hovland, Hideki, and Sahith Theegala, all top 20, 12-1. You can get that right now in the exclusive section as well.
If you can tell why I'm smiling, I'm looking at CFL player props right now. So we'll get into that tomorrow on the Lock Shop. That's going to be really good. Haas, we'll talk to them, man.
Thanks, dude.